Yes, we are live now.
Mhm. Yes. Hello, our dear friends. Welcome to our Universal Life Management English channel. Long time we did not do stream now, and now we are again meeting with you. And today our speaker will be Ambarish. So he little tell about himself, introduce himself, and will explain what, like briefly, what main topic of his speech will be today. And after we will meet his presentation. And if by the way someone maybe
Uh, I think their connection got They got disconnected. Yeah, Premjeet ji, can you hear me? Uh, can you unmute yourself and speak something? Okay, I'll start the presentation. Okay, if the viewers can just type in that they are able to hear me and see the video, then I can start the presentation. Yes, so you can hear me. Okay. Of reality. And before we begin, let me give you a brief introduction about myself. Uh, I'll share a bit about my journey with you. I started my career as a mechanical engineer and delving into product design for many years. However, my curiosity didn't stop there, and I started to explore my own purpose of life more deeply, and in the process began to learn about various philosophies and social systems. I am currently pursuing a master's in philosophy, and I am an autodidact on system alternatives, constantly seeking ways and wisdom to create a better life for humans. For the past few years, I have been on a fascinating journey exploring the intersection of philosophy and various socio-economic political systems. I am self taught about various social movements, proposals, and concepts on system change and alternatives to capitalism. And you can view my posts on Instagram, and the link to that handle is shared on the screen. uh, Happiness Centric System Project. So um, so this is a brief about me, and today I'll talk about uh, various traditional approaches towards reality, and which approach makes most sense for me, and I will try to give some explanation why it is so. I will introduce you to a lesser known approach called as dual aspect monism. I will also add my own ideas about dual aspect monism and try to paint a picture of what reality is all about. I will try to present my ideas on how this cosmos came about and what sense we can make of our lives based on this picture of reality. So, in essence, I will propose a philosophical explanation about reality that probably you may have never heard before. And my main points will be um, existence is a pulsation from potentiality to actuality. This is what I'm going to cover. Point number two that I want to convey to you is existence is the pulsation or the spandan of five psychophysically neutral elements, which are neither mind nor matter, but manifest as mind and matter. And mind does not cause matter, matter does not cause mind. They are two aspects of same reality and are acausally correlated. So, this is what I am going to emphasize in this presentation. And we will also talk about how this cosmos came about and that the ultimate reality changes its state. At one point, it is unmanifest potential, at another point, it is in a cosmic seed state, and at a different point, a third point, it exists as unfolded cosmos. And this is the cyclic nature of reality. And in the end, I will conclude by saying that life is for experiencing happiness, and that all the physical and mental trauma that we experience is nothing but upsetting of the five elemental pulsation configuration, and that a new framework of happiness and well being can be derived utilizing this model, which I am going to present before you today. So, this is a general overview of the topics that we are going to cover today. So, what I mean by absolute truth or fundamental reality. Uh, to make sense of the world, we need a picture of reality. And what I mean by that is what absolute truth or absolute reality, what I mean by that, it is that existential foundational principle which always is operating and never is not, and provides an explanation to that which had existed in the past, exists now, and may exist in the future. So, absolute truth is the fundamental basis of everything at any time. It is self existent, self caused cause, and necessary principle. All the explanations about the world or life should be derivable from that ultimate truth and should not have contradicting elements within it. We are trying to go behind the visible surface to infer the very fabric of reality, its fundamental nature. So, this is what I mean by absolute truth. We are trying to find out that principle, that ultimate principle by which we can explain our existence. Now, there have been some traditional uh, approaches towards understanding reality. We in today's world we know a lot about our subjectivity, our consciousness, and we also understand a lot about the brain, but how they are connected remains a mystery, which is the mind matter problem. And different philosophies have tried to tackle this question in their own way. Now, how these philosophies differ. So the traditional viewpoints in the discourse on the connection between the mental and physical typically hinge on establishing a direct correlation between the material and the mental. And the key determinant in these classic perspectives lies in elucidating the nature of the interaction between the material and the mental realms. So, in the figure, in the diagram, you can see these classic positions of dualism and monism. And below you can see that on one side there is the material domain, and on the other side there is the mental domain. And it is what we are trying to do using these approaches is to explain the mind matter correlation, how they are related with each other. So around 400 years ago, one of the influential perspectives was presented by Rene Descartes around, and that is known as interactive dualism. And he proposed that reality is consisting of basically two fundamental parts. One is the mental domain, and the other is the physical domain. And this, he said, as that they are two distinct ontological domains. So by the mental, he meant the cognition, emotions, consciousness. And with by the physical, he meant everything extended in space, constituting the material realm. And Descartes asserted the reality of both aspects, the mind and the matter, but elucidating their interaction has proven to be a significant challenge over time. He introduced the concept of a pineal gland, and he tried to explain that the mind and the matter, the material world, are related through this metaphysical um entity or substance, which he termed as the pineal gland. And basically, he has introduced the notion of God to explain the interaction between mind and matter, which eventually proved to be an insufficient explanation both from a scientific and philosophical standpoint. So he said that in reality, there are two things: one is the mind, and another is the matter, and they are two distinct substances. And that is why it falls under the category of dualism. But explaining how the mind matter interacts with each other has continued to be a challenge. Now, the as a response to Descartes' dualist view, two main perspectives became popular in the history of ideas. One is idealism and physicalism. So you can see that in Cartesian duality, the solid lines are there to define that both physical and material substances exist. But in the case of physicalism, you can see that there is a dotted line surrounding the mind, and in idealism, the dotted line is surrounding the physical processes. So, what physicalism says is that uh, mind is a derivative of matter, and what idealism says is that matter is a derivative of mind. So, idealism seeks to reduce the material to the mental, where everything material is seen as a product of the mental. And idealists think everything is fundamentally mental. So, they say that, for example, a car came into existence because you had this idea in your mind first. A revolution such as the French Revolution happened because it was there in somebody's mind as an idea. So to them, idea is primary, and the physical or the material is a derivative of that. So according to them, understanding the mind will help us understand the brain. It is opposite to what physicalists believe. So, on the other hand, physicalism argues that understanding the physical world will inherently explain consciousness and the mental realm. Physicalists say the brain is the only reality, and once we fully understand it, we will understand consciousness. This makes consciousness secondary. So, both of them kind of avoid the link problem, the mind matter link problem. Essentially, both reactions are more or less taking away the ontological substance from one of the two domains, the material or the mental. They are considering only one of them as the primary substance, that which exists, and the other is only a derivative of that. So, in the history of ideas, these three main positions have basically ruled: physicalism, idealism, and dualism. They have shaped how we approach the connection between consciousness and the brain. But there is a fourth option also, which is known as dual aspect monism. And one version of dual aspect monism is known as neutral monism. So, neutral monism, you can see that here a third domain is introduced. Typically, we are familiar with uh, the idea that either a soul exists or the matter exists or both exist. This has been the prevalent ideas. But in neutral monism, a third domain is introduced. And neutral monism posits that there are psychophysically neutral elements, which means these elements are neither mental nor physical. So there is a third domain introduced here, and they are psychophysically neutral, and they are elements which can be composed in different ways. And depending on how you compose them, the composition, the configuration that you come up either leads to mental or to physical properties. So, in a way, the mental and physical can be reduced to the psychophysically neutral elements. This idea is in some way inspired by the classical system theory, where you have parts and you put them together and you get wholes. So, unlike idealism and physicalism, takes a distinct dual aspect monism, it takes a distinct approach. It avoids reducing everything to either the mental or the physical, offering a fourth option. So, in this book, which on the right side you can see, it is written by Harold Atmanspacher and Dean Rickles. Um, so, in this book, Dual Aspect Monism and the Deep Structure of Meaning, the authors they explore this perspective of dual aspect monism in depth, and they challenge the traditional dualisms and monisms. And dual aspect monism basically proposes that reality consists of a single, undifferentiated, holistic substance. And that is why it is monism that splits into mind and matter, that is the dual aspects. And in this view, mind and matter are linked or correlated by meaning. So these correlations do not imply that mind causally affects matter or vice versa, but rather they point to an acausal relation. And in this book, Atmanspacher and Rickles, they try to show that this metaphysical theory has deep philosophical roots, and they have refined it based on modern ideas from quantum mechanics. Okay, so what if reality is only mental or only physical? Why do we need this uh, fourth option? So, if you look at what the idealist is speaking, the idealist would say that there is no material actually. The only real substance is the mental, it's mind. And then, of course, the question is that when you are trying to explain the relationship between mind and matter, how you are going to flesh out the arrows between mind and matter, how can we derive the physical, the material from the mental? So that for that we haven't so far received a very sufficiently satisfactory answer. So the question arises, what is the ultimate nature of this reality? How can we explain mind matter relations? And in that explanation, according to that explanation, what is the ultimate meaning of life? So if, like how Advait Vedanta posits it, according to Advait Vedanta, which is one of the idealistic philosophies, it says that absolute reality is beyond all attributes and distinctions. It is pure, undivided consciousness without any multiplicity or differentiation. And the world that we are experiencing now, it is relative reality, it is transactional realities, and it appears due to ignorance of the an unchangeable non-dual reality. And according to Advait Vedanta, the world is seen as temporary and illusory. Hence, all the causality that is used, it's only used as a teaching tool in non-dualism. The absolute is beyond this causality. So it becomes a challenge to understand what then do you mean by the how the physical arrived from the mental, or the absolute. uh, and so these are some important questions for which we need clarity, and so far we haven't received that clarity. And similarly, if we are going to look at the materialist view, um, so the physicalist would say that the mental does not really exist, it's just an illusion, or it's epiphenomenal. What really exists is the brain and the body. And again, the same question will be posed to the materialist or the physicalist, is that how do you explain the mental arising from the physical? How does consciousness arise out of the brain? And for that also, uh, no satisfactory answer so far. So it will be very difficult to justify the meaning of life, the meaning of our existence, if we eliminate either physical or mental, if we don't treat them as fundamental properties in our explanation of reality. So this is one major concern with these traditional philosophies. Secondly, explaining the mind matter correlation has remained a challenge with these approaches. So according to me, uh, when we endeavor to address the challenges facing humanity, I think it is important not to dismiss the significance of the physical world or the subjective realm, and it will be oppressive to dismiss either. Instead, we should embark on the task of organizing our knowledge about the objective world, unravel the workings of the subjective realm, and integrate both into a cohesive and logically sound framework. And if we try to do so, a system's view of life shall begin to take shape. And I think this viewpoint will be more rational, more meaningful, and will have practical utility. It will abstain from mysticism, such as that found in religion, or the portrayal of an indifferent universe, as often depicted in science. Rather, it acknowledges both agency and physical nature of the world as dual aspects or properties of same substance, giving rise to a philosophy that can be applied to enhance the quality of life. So, according to me, if we discard either one of these aspects, then we are providing an oppressive explanation to reality. We are kind of discarding our own experience, because by our own experience we know we have a subjective realm and we are experiencing the outer physical world. And if we say that either one of those is insubstantial or secondary, um, then it kind of is an oppressive explanation. So Thomas Nagel, a British philosopher, he very beautifully highlights this point. He says that and it is kind of important to understand what dual aspect monism is all about. So he says that the conceptual scheme of our language, of our natural language, is dualistic. In our everyday language, we see things in two categories: mental and physical. They seem different, with mental stuff related to our thoughts and physical stuff to what we can see and touch. It distinguishes between mental and physical events and properties, and while recognizing that there are many systematic connections between them, clearly implies that they are never the same, that they are different in kind. Physical phenomena are part of the spatio-temporal order and can be observed by perception. Mental phenomena appear within the point of view of an individual subject and cannot be perceived from outside by another subject, whereas physical objects and physical phenomena don't have a point of view. But in science, we have examples where things that seemed unrelated are actually connected because of a deeper reason. For instance, the relationship between temperature and pressure in a gas is not just a random connection, it's necessary because both temperature and pressure are grounded in the kinetic energy of gas molecules. So, this perspective called monism suggests that in such cases, the experience and the physical state are both necessary and sufficient for each other. They don't cause each other, rather, they share the same causes and effects because they represent the inner and outer aspects of a single state. This state can't be fully described using only physical or mental concepts. So, in a more rigorously complete theory, it is better to think in terms of properties rather than loose categories of mental and physical states. So, dual aspect monism gives us that another option where the mental and the physical, are dual aspects of one fundamental substance. Now, there are two modes of dual aspect thinking also. One is the approach called the compositional approach, and other one is called the decompositional approach. So they are both opposite of the other. One is just opposite of the other. The compositional mode is conceived like this: you have these psychophysically neutral domain, and this psychophysically neutral domain consists of elements that can be configured in certain ways, so they can be composed in certain ways, and depending upon which configuration we come up with, accordingly there are these the display of the mental or physical properties. So, this is one approach where you combine the elements to come up with various compositions, and accordingly, you get different displays of mental and physical properties. For example, plant will have a certain composition, a certain animal will have a certain composition. Accordingly, it will display a certain degree of consciousness. So, these different composition will create various entities of the world, and these compositions are made by the psychophysically neutral elements. So everything can be reduced to the psychophysically neutral domain, and hence it is called an reductive view of reality. It's an atomist view of reality. Everything that we see is being reduced to certain psychophysically neutral elements. Now, there is another approach in which it is not a reductive approach, but a approach that was taken from the quantum physics, and that is why it is a approach. And the concept of holism from quantum physics was taken, and that is why it is known as um, the the whole is decomposed to create the mind and the matter. So uh, there was a very famous uh, s- psychoanalyst or psychologist. His name is Carl Jung. You must have known about him, and he conceived reality uh, as a whole. And Jung's conception of a basic reality did not consist of parts, but is one unfragmented whole, and he termed that as the unus mundus. And starting from this holistic, psychophysically neutral reality, aspects such as the mental and material are generated by decomposition of the whole. So, the word decomposition, partition, and symmetry breaking, these are some of the terms that have been borrowed from the quantum physics to explain this mode of dual aspect thinking. And this mode of dual aspect thinking, in fact, was created by or proposed by some of the very famous physicists. uh, one of them was Wolfgang Pauli, who worked with Carl Jung, and another couple is Arthur Eddington, who worked with John Wheeler. Another is David Bohm and Basil Hiley. So these are some of the quantum physicists who created a model of dual aspect monism, utilizing some of the concepts of quantum physics, such as holism. And Um, so in this concept, basically it's not a reductionist model, um, and it's like the reality is considered as a whole, which if decomposed, or whenever there is a symmetry breaking, it creates various entities. So these and both because of this decomposition, the mind and matter emerge. So the broken holism leads to mental and material aspects, and this in turn produce the mind matter correlations, which we get for free because they are emerging as a consequence of a split of an underlying whole. So the underlying whole is the ontic reality. That is what really exists. And when it undergoes symmetry breaking, then it splits. And because of that splitting, the mind and matter emerge as an epistemic split. So, to make it more clear, I will just give an example. Just imagine on the right hand side corner top, you can see a picture of a river, and in that river there are various, like it's like swirling. So imagine the river is the ontic whole, and because of the symmetry breaking, because of the swirls that are created in the water, uh, a distinct swirl emerges. So actually it is part of the river, but we can also say that it's separate. We are identifying that this is a swirl. So ontically it is river, but epistemologically it's a swirl. Just a crude way of explaining how the mind matter emerge as epistemic split of the ontic whole. So when I say epistemic, what it means is that this is what we have access to it. We have like we can observe it, because mind and matter, they are part of our experience. We can access this state of reality. We can do measurements in that. We can observe it. But this mind and matter are only perspectival aspects. The actual reality is not like that. The actual reality is a whole. So we'll go a little bit deep about this particular concept, because that is the uh, this is the most important thing to understand. But before that, I'll just give you a brief uh, historical overview about how various pioneers of uh, various quantum physicists inspired these versions of dual aspect monism. So on the left hand side, you can see all the dual aspect thinkers. Like Spinoza is considered as one of the founders of dual aspect monism in philosophy. And he actually was a Dutch philosopher who had responded to Rene Descartes, and had proposed at that time a version of dual aspect monism. And so this particular branch of philosophy has its history, and there are various philosophers, physicists, and psychologists and neuroscientists who support um, this approach towards reality. And you can see Wolfgang Pauli, Carl Jung. This was, as I mentioned earlier, they worked together. And Arthur Eddington and John Wheeler, they worked together. David Bohm and Basil Hiley. Out of these six, only Basil Hiley is now alive, and uh, uh, and David Bohm actually also worked with Jiddu Krishnamurti, and there are various interviews of David Bohm inquiring from Jiddu Krishnamurti. Because he also wrote a book, David Bohm wrote a book about the undivided universe, and was very much interested in the spiritual aspects, and that is why he collaborated with Jiddu Krishnamurti to understand his metaphysical ideas. Now, I will talk a little bit more about this dual aspect monism concept. And one of the leading thinkers, as I mentioned earlier, as of now, is Harold Atman-Specker, who has written the book about dual aspect monism and the deep structure of meaning. So here he has tried to depict what this dual aspect model will look like. So in the metaphysical doctrine of dual aspect monism, there is this psychophysically neutral domain out of which the mental and physical aspects arise as, epistemic descendants, and they manifest by the decomposition of the whole. So the philosophy of dual aspect monism proposes that reality consists of a holistic psychophysical realm that is neither mind nor matter, but contains the potential of both of those aspects. And Carl Jung called this realm the unus mundus, the one world. And within dual aspect monism, this holistic realm is said to split, or you can use the word decompose, into the two aspects that we experience as mind and matter. So the unus mundus splits, mind and matter emerge, and then, according to this theory, they also react back into the neutral psychophysical realm. So uh, the undivided, you can see that in this sketch, you can imagine this kind of threefold structure where you have the mental domain consisting of the conscious states, and you have the physical domain, and the domain below the horizontal line, that's the ontology, that's neither mental nor physical. And the two domains above the horizontal line, these are epistemic domains which come up by decomposition of the ontological domain of the undivided domain. So uh, the undivided base reality, it consists of certain archetypal patterns which order or shape these conscious states or the physical world. So this undivided reality, it it orders or shapes these conscious states, and these conscious states in return can shape the reality. So that is why in psychology, when we do psychoanalysis, when we ourselves become aware of our um, unconscious, then we alter our reality. So that is how it actually works. When the unconscious is brought into the conscious, that observation itself alters the unconscious. So that is why it has a recursive reaction. It reacts back to the underlying whole. And that is what I meant by these arrows between the conscious states and the collective unconscious, and the observed objects and the holistic quantum reality. So the undivided whole, using the holistic quantum reality physics, they are able to, um, the quantum holism, they are able to explain the phenomena of the physical world, and using the collective unconscious model, they are able to explain the emergence or the working of the conscious states. And there is a back reaction also possible to this underlying undivided reality through either of these modes. So, for example, in quantum physics, when you do an observation, then it collapses, for example, the wave into a particle, which actually, by this model, we can explain that it has altered the holism, the state, the quantum state itself, by observation. And similarly, in psychology, in psychoanalysis, if you bring your unconscious into the conscious, then it will alter the unconscious. So this is the basic design of the dual aspect monism. So now I would like to introduce one more important concept, and this is about what we observe in the um, quantum world. So there is a famous scientist, Lothar Schaffer, and he says that when scientists work with electron diffraction instrument, in which they put an electron in a vacuum, so when electrons went into that instrument, they became waves, and these waves are described by Schrodinger wave mechanics. So when they put an when they put a particle, it became a wave, and these waves, he's saying, they are mathematical forms. They are not units of matter or energy. They are just forms, information. So first you had a particle, then you have this wave, and it is spread out, and you can't see these waves. And these waves, they form a non-empirical realm, because when you interact to take a look, the wave is destroyed and a particle comes out. So so basically, the quantum state collapses by our interaction. And the what they are saying is that these waves, they are in the non-empirical domain. They are empty forms, they are numbers, they are like mathematical, numerical relations. So in a way, when we go deeper, we find that the world is emerging from a state of potentiality to actuality. That is what I wanted to say. These waveforms, they are like potentials. We really don't know what they are because they are non empirical, but the idea is that the whole background of universe is a wholeness where all these forms hang together. So they are in a state of potentiality, and they pulsate to a state of actuality by interacting with each other. So when you see that our body has particles, and these particles, they are not in a state of wave. If they are held together, they are in a collapsed state because they are interacting with the environment. So that is why they are in a particle state. But actually, if we isolate them, they are all actually waves. So the reality that we see or experience is actually emerging from a background of potentiality. So now from here, I'm going to explain what I am proposing to understand reality. So we have, so the idea that I'm saying, that I'm proposing, is that the psychophysically neutral elements are actually the five tattvas. And for example, in Ayurveda, you know that there is this concept of the five elements or the five tattvas. And using those tattvas, they are defining the, you know, the doshas of our body, and they are explaining the health of our constitution, our prakriti, and the state of our body. Now, these five tattvas can never be, physically identified. Their manifestations can be felt. They cannot be identified and pointed at as if that this is akash and this is vayu. We are only seeing their collective manifestation. So utilizing the same idea, utilizing the same analogy from Ayurveda, we can explain all that, this phenomena of the world, using the five tattvas. So the akash, or the space element, for example, that is the space without which other matters, it provide. What is its quality? Its quality is that it provides space without which other matters cannot exist. Its main sense attribute is sound, shabd, and non-resistance, apratighatatva, is its main property. So similarly, there are other elements like Vayu, Agni, Jal, and Prithvi, and they have all of their properties. And if we understand these properties, then we will be able to explain all the phenomena that is taking place in the material world and also in the psychological world. So these tattvas, I must point out to you that they are not the fire, water, earth, air, or space that we normally experience. Fire tattva does not mean the fire that is there in, on a, like if you light a match, then that it's not that fire. That fire also is consisting of all the five elements. All substances that we experience in life are in entirety panchatattvic combinations or five principle. Tattvas are like musical notes. When musical notes are played at once, they create what is known as harmony. Harmony is the simultaneous sounding of two or more different notes to create a pleasing and blended sound. The same way in which these notes are combined and the intervals between them determine the character of the harmony, similarly, we only experience the world as a juxtaposition of five tattvas or potentiality waves or spandan. So, this panchatattvic holds in various kinds of partitioning or symmetry breakdowns create different entities that have different mental and physical properties. So again, I'm utilizing the concept that I borrowed from the dual aspect monism about a of a whole. And what I'm saying is that the five tattvas are one whole, and when they are, when the symmetry breakdown happens, then various entities get created. So one entity will have one configuration of panch tattvas, another entity will have a different configuration of panch tattvas, and accordingly the consciousness level and the material condition of that entity will be defined. So plant will have a certain consciousness level, a certain bird will have a different consciousness level, human beings will have different consciousness level according to their tattvic configuration. And the physics and the psychology of all these phenomena can be explained using the panch tattvas as the psychophysically neutral elements. So the uh, like in the previous slide I showed to you that all the universal properties, the macro properties, like radiation, fluidity, movement, steadiness, stability, solidity, all these can be explained using the five elements. Similarly, our own body and mind can be explained using the five elements. For example, all the void and volume in the body is because of Akash Tattva, and it gives space for other elements to exist. And in our body, all the movement is done within this empty space. So the hollowness of the head, mouth, nose, ears, lungs, food pipe, etc., they are representative of Akash element. Similarly, there is the Vayu element, which is responsible for all the movements, processes, circulation, respiration, etc. All the physical vitality and strength that one has is because of the Vayu element. Similarly, there is the Agni element, which creates hunger, thirst, sleep, vision. All the digestive fire and heat is created by Agni. Similarly, Jal and Prithvi. So, I think you are familiar with these Ayurvedic concepts, and that everything in our physical body and our own inner psychological instrument, also our memory, our decision making faculty, our comprehension faculty, our ability to sense, the various types of senses that we have, all these can be explained using the five elements. So now, what is the I'm proposing my version of dual aspect monism is that, um, so you can see in the animation that some something is popping out of uh, an empty space. So the way I so what I'm saying is that the existence that you are experiencing is nothing but the pulsation from Akash to Prithvi. And it can also be said as a spandan from potentiality to actuality. Spandan is pulsation only. So from the potential realm, from the space, as the space becomes air, and then space and air element combine to form the fire element, then space, air and fire element combine to form the water element, then space, air, fire and water element combine to form the earth element. When it reaches that the point of earth element, then you will see a visible, a manifest reality, an empirical reality, where the mind matter will emerge. So this is a pulsation from the non empirical, unmanifest to the empirical, manifest domain. And this is what is happening. And according to different configurations, each entity will have different consciousness level and material configuration. So the five principled existence undergoes change. Sometimes this existence is only in the only the akash pulsation is taking place, so it exists in the merged state as a dot. All the elements are merged, and this is the state before the big bang, and only the universe exists as a dot. And then some movement starts to happen, and organically the akash unfolds into the space, air, fire, water, earth, and it becomes alive. And that is the cosmic seed state or the Brahman state. So this is also, it undergoes change. It is not like the Brahman of the Advait Vedanta, which is supposed to be unchangeable, and or whatever change you are saying is illusory. It is not. This concept is different from it. According to this philosophy, the state of reality is continuously changing, and the change is nothing but the pulsation from space to air, air to fire, fire to water, and then to earth. So this existence, either it exists as a dot, condensed dot, or as a in the Brahman avastha, or in the unfolded universe state or the Brahmand avastha. So we use this tripartite diagram of the ontic whole and this two epistemic splits or dual aspects, mind and matter, which spontaneously emerge from the symmetry breaking of a monist substrate of wholeness. And this subjective relational meaning, which means, for example, uh, as an individual, I have certain, I give attribute certain meaning to the outer world that I experience from a local perspective. So this meaning is created naturally by the emergence of the subject object. But this meaning has a link to the deep meaning of the Panchtattvic whole, which is the entire universe, which is because I am part of that universe. Just like the swirl in the river was part of the river, but it was experiencing itself as a separate entity, just like I am experiencing myself as a separate entity, but actually I am part of the whole. So I am part of this whole Panchtattvic universe, but I am experiencing myself as a self, and this subject object is appearing. Okay, so now in this modified version of dual aspect monism, I am utilizing the modified Chatushpad doctrine of that Premjeet ji has written in his book Sampurn Jivan Darshan, which is the Turiya Avastha, Sushupti Avastha, Swapna Avastha, and Jagrit Avastha. So the subject object, according to different Panchtattvic configuration, different conscious states are getting created, and different entities will experience all these states of consciousness according to their composition. So that is the basic idea. I will not go further into this detail, otherwise it will become very technical. I will just summarize it here. So the stuff of reality is described by its dual aspect, mind and matter, that are perspectival aspects in manifest domain, empirical world. spontaneously emerging from the symmetry breaking of a non dual, non empirical, unmanifest substrate of potentiality and wholeness. So, on the background, actually, it is the pulsation of the Panchatatvas. And as it manifests, we are experiencing it as subject object. So, duality emerging from non duality and then merging back is the pulsation of life or the cyclical aspect of life. So, this pulsation is continuously happening because these tattvas are continuously pulsating. So, these tattvas, I refer to them as the existential necessities. Five tattvas or five existential necessities that creates the stuff of reality. And now we also know that whatever is found in the tree must be in the seed. So, whatever exists in the cosmos must be in the cosmic seed. So, utilizing these three principles that I have outlined just now, we are going to explain how this cosmos emerged. So, there is this double aspect theory, that is, everything, the mind and matter, they emerge a from one single substance. There are two aspects of a single substance. This single substance is nothing but space turning into air turning into uh, fire, space, air, fire turning into water, space, air, fire, water turning into Prithvi or earth element. So, this is the five element theory and the cyclic nature of this existence, that they are continuously pulsating. Using this, we are going to explain this entire phenomena of reality. So, the fundamental cause of this universe is defined by a principal process which is Akash to Prithvi. So, one entity metamorphosed into this universe with diversity that we see. These many entities also display the same underlying principal process that is found in that one entity. That one can be addressed as ultimate basis of the many. So, this universe which we now see with diversity, it existed before as one entity, which is the simplest configuration of Panchatatvas, which I am referring to as the Brahman. So, basically, Brahman constitutes of the five principled processes, and it has mental and physical attributes, and it is one whole. And this one whole metamorphosed into this diversity that we now see by symmetry breaking. So, on the right hand corner, you can see that this space, air, fire, water, earth, these are the five existential necessities for anything to exist in the manifest domain. Everything that you see and everything that you experience will be made up of these five elements. And they are continuously pulsating, bouncing from one end to the other. So you can see that there is two states. One is the 1A state and 1B state. So before, when we are trying to understand from where did this universe emerge, so in the very beginning there is no mind and matter. The universe exists as a condensed dot where everything is compressed into a condensed space. There are no five elements. There is only one element, which is which has minimal oscillation, and it will not display any it will not display any material or mental faculties. So it is in a state of it's not expressed. It is in unmanifest state because mind and matter are absent there. So it's only in a state of potential. It carries the potential which eventually will express into mind and matter. So as it starts oscillation, it will go to state B, 1B, and in 1B the full five elements will become active, and a consciousness will emerge along with the body. So from invisible potentiality, we will see a visible actuality. This first point is the Brahman avastha, or the cosmic seed state. So you can see just before the Big Bang, the the cosmic seed was alive, and it at that state it willed for a universe organically, just similar to how we wake up during the morning. This cosmic seed woke up, and at this point, the 1b state, it has mind and matter. So now what happened? This moved organically to the third state, which is the unfolded universe. So from in 1a, it was in inactive state. There was no physical entity. All the elements are unified, and it is can also be termed as a sleep Brahma avastha. And then, due to symmetry breaking organically, due to first kind of symmetry breaking, the five elements unfolded, and we got our first cosmic seed, which was conscious. And then this cosmic seed underwent second type of symmetry breaking, and out of that, at that point of time, maybe the Big Bang happened, and this universe got created. The seed metamorphosed into this universe, and within this universe, various types of conscious entities emerged. So the cosmic seed has consciousness and a natural urge to move towards diversity, to experience associated happinesses, and thus decides to metamorphose into cosmos. And this, at this point, we can also term it as big wow, at the point of Big Bang. So the cosmic seed now is no longer there. Now only cosmos exists with various kinds of conscious entities, such as humans, animals, like that. So universe emerged from a cosmic seed that has both mind and body, and this cosmic seed became cosmos. Existence is either in cosmic seed unity state or cosmic whole differentiated state, that is with all the diversity. But even though along with this diversity, it's still a whole. So the diversity in existence emerges due to the symmetry breakdowns or partitioning of the undivided whole. So again, in these pictures, you can see on the left hand corner, there is the inactive quantum void. Again, it starts oscillating, and the quantum void becomes alive. That is the big wow moment. And this, all the five elements are active. And at that point, it wills for a universe, and organically it moves towards the unfolding of this cosmos with diversity. And this universe is nothing but a grand scheme of pulsations, Akash to Prithvi, potential to actual. And all this diversity that you are seeing is because of this, all the complex symmetry breaking that is happening of the whole. And this process, it repeats itself. So at the end of this universe, again, a new cycle will emerge. So in the beginning, there was this cosmic seed which unfolded into this cosmos. Brahman became Brahmand, and then again it will universe will collapse, and again will go into a state of absolute collapse, wherein everything will be folded back, and then another seed will emerge, and another universe will get created, and this cycles continues eternally. In the cosmic seed state, the only conscious entity, the Brahman, that is the Brahman is the only conscious entity, so that is self dependent, single driver. But when we are in the universe state or the Brahmand state or the cosmic tree state, we depend upon each other. There are many drivers because you are, as human beings, there are many human beings, there are various other living organisms, and therefore we are interdependent. So one of the scientists from Italy, his name is Paolo Zizi, he also proposed a theory that how consciousness may have been there at the time of Big Bang, and he only coined this term, the big wow moment before Big Bang. And he said that at the inflationary period of the universe, he created a theoretical model utilizing the concepts from physics, that how like how what kind of complexity at that time would have been there in universe for consciousness to be possible. So the link to that paper I have mentioned here. Just this is an example to show that scientists are also considering such possibilities, and they have various models of cyclic universe, theoretical models. They are speculative models, nevertheless they are considering these possibilities. So our universe exists in this cyclic fashion, where in one point it is in a completely folded state. We can call it the unmanifest state, we can call it the sleeping state, and it uh, due to the nature of reality itself, it spontaneously moves from that state to the cosmic seed state, where a potential universe is there, and that is where the being is there at that point with intent, and then it unfolds into this cosmos. And I would like to highlight that the cosmic seed state is just a momentary state. It exists only momentarily, and the main uh, period of existence, the longer period of existence, is the cosmos, the unfolded universe. And at the end of every universe, again the same cycle begins. So we can see that we emerged from this akash, and this all these five elements unfolded, and we arrived at the cosmic seed state. But in the cosmic seed state there is no outer universe. Imagine you woke up but there was no outer world. So that is the same condition how in the beginning the Brahman would have felt. And so it had this innate wish, organic wish, for experiencing an outer world. And hence it moves to this state of complexity, wherein, due to symmetry breaking, all these different manifestations, different entities, plants, animals, sunrise, sunset, planets, water, fragrances, fruits, all of this diversity got created, which is the which is the meaning of our lives. So the self with outer world wants to experience happiness through these mind matter duality. Because mind matter duality emerges due to symmetry breaking, it wants to experience these all these mind matter interactions, subject object interactions. So subject object splitting creates meaning for us, and this meaning is deeply inbuilt. It's a part of these five elements. So, this is the last slide. In conclusion, the ultimate reality is psychophysically neutral and displays both physical and mental properties according to its decompositional state. In one configuration, it can be alive, conscious, and in the other, it can be inert or unconscious. From potentiality to actuality is the pulsation of existence and life. The reality is a mix of five principal existential necessities or spandans. So all I'm saying is that everything is made up of akash, vayu, agni, jal, prithvi, and uh, that is what causes the mental and physical perspectives to emerge and get correlated through meaning. Cosmic seed becomes cosmos, and after the end of this universe another cycle begins. And the start happens from one with an urge to become many in order to experience subjects of pleasure. Brahman state is momentary, and universe state is a longer part in which the main thing is to enjoy happiness for a long time. So, anything that happens to our five elemental configuration, that is how we experience any pleasure or any trauma. So, if we are able to create a way, a system of management by which, according to our configuration, we are able to experience this outer world, then the purpose of our life will be served. So, that is the end of this presentation. Uh, Now you can unmute your mics. Oh, so again, it was 1 hour almost.
110.
Yes,
Was
Ambarish.
it anything comprehensible, or was it too technical again?
It was a good presentation. Okay, I tell my like simply what I can tell because honestly tell many things was little out of my understanding, especially in terminology also. So, but you tried to explain by very easy way, and whatever I mostly like in your approach that you know our theory, whatever Premjeet working in you like put in in system, whatever like before thinkers like did some researching in this area and how we like by academic way you explaining our ideas also. This I always feeling good by this. What do you think in future? How you want to use it? Do you want to do some discussion with some philosophers or some thinkers like who now alive, or maybe sending? You told that some of them alive now, maybe some sharing with them. What do you think for future of your this
Yeah, so
project?
actually, these leading thinkers of dual aspect monism, we know that our tradition is dual aspect monism. This is, I think, we all agree
Our
upon this.
tradition, very like academically called like this. Yes,
Yeah, academically, because we are saying there
Premjeet
is one substance with two aspects.
with two aspects. Yes,
Okay, so
like we like just like now we are in this academical tradition. We are also. Mhm.
yeah, but surprisingly, this tradition is not so popular in common public.
In common public, not popular.
Okay, and therefore, the various social and political theories that are built, they are either materialist theories or idealist theories.
Mhm.
Okay,
Like
so
materialist, it's like Marxism,
yes,
communism, they're all fully based of
yes.
this
So
material.
dual aspect monism has a lot of work to be done, like it has a lot of potential to be developed. But their struggle is that they are able to explain mind matter correlation because they are getting it free, because they are saying that this whole, when it breaks into two, so automatically if you break something which is all organically whole, then they are correlated. So this they are getting for free, but they are not able to speak anything about that on that whole. It is becoming something indescribable kind of situation for them, which I
But why
told that.
some? But they not understand like importance of this point, or how this is not so much. like
No, it is not
in
yet solved.
aware of
How
that.
they have not yet
Mhm.
solved, and they borrowed from Carl Jung the concept of archetypes because they were mostly physicists. So for them, the only help they got from the philosophy domain or the psychology domain was from Carl Jung, who talked about whole, underlying whole as the reality. So
But
they
his
borrowed.
point of view, little, esoteric, whatever I understand
So that is
about
what I
his
am saying, na, that
philosophy,
then
like
esoteric, because it is
not
esoteric.
seriously, many like scientists or like not so much seriously about him, some esoterics.
No, but you see, scientists also, some are there who are interested in what he's saying,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
these physicists. But the problem
Mm-hmm.
is that it becomes esoteric. So then you are not able to define what is this undivided whole
Yeah.
from, and then you are not able to explain the phenomena. But what I did was I introduced the concept of five elements to speak about this background reality which we cannot experience but we can talk about it.
These five elements, I think Western not so much familiar
No, in west
with
or
the
in east both treat five elements as matter, material, like physical.
Mhm.
It is first time I am speaking, it is non
Mhm,
psychophysically
mhm.
neutral.
Psychophysically neutral
It is not
means
matter, it is not mind, it
not
carries the
matter, not
potential,
mind.
because because akash is not matter, or it is not consciousness. आकाश वायु अग्नि जल पृथ्वी create matter and consciousness.
So it means third, some not.
It is the third
Mm.
psychophysically neutral domain. It is the underlying grammar of universe which we cannot experience because we are already experiencing the effect of the five
Mhm.
elements. Like, suppose imagine you are inside a video game, so you will never experience the code that is there, which which is the programming of the video game. You will only experience the effect of that programming. Similarly, in Ayurveda, you will only experience the effect of the tattvas. You cannot say, look, here is Akash, here is Vayu, because everything is Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi.
So means we just it's like logical suppositions that there should exist.
Yes. So
We
if
can't
only pure
experience, but
Akash you
there
have to
should be.
experience,
Mhm.
if pure Akash only exists in the unmanifest state when Brahma sleeps, that is pure Akash state. That time only pure Akash is there. After that, Akash starts to vibrate, Brahma gets active. That time mind matter emerge. Then again symmetry breaking, again universe happens. Now when I go in my consciousness, then all these processes are running, five elemental process, but okay, my consciousness is primarily akashic, so I will experience the akash predominantly, but they will be having connection with other elements because I am five, made of five elements. So I cannot say, na, look, I am separate from it. I am one whole made of five elements.
Mm.
So this
Means it's just
theory,
like philosophical, logical supposition. Means scientifically, no any chance to like we
it is
never prove.
it is non empirical, it's in unmanifest, just
No
like scientists.
empirical, beyond of whatever they
Yeah.
call beyond
S-
of experience,
yes,
beyond of
and
understanding.
that is
Mm.
what they are
Not beyond of
experiencing.
understanding, but beyond of experience. We can only understand
Yeah, just like
conceptual
we are in
experience.
video game, we can make
Hmm.
our conclusion about what how this video game is running, but we cannot experience the background programming because we are inside the video
Hmm.
game. So
Yeah,
similarly, hmm, logically
yeah,
we
looks like
can hmm,
logically, yeah.
yeah.
Mm. Premjeet, what do you think about it? Can you tell? Because I
Yes.
first time from Ambarish G, like this formulation, listen as this, what you call, like neutral, about their neutrality, psychophysical. Mm.
On this we can understand in our, in this world, like in Mendeleev table, we have 119, 120 element. Okay, and we know they all made up of electron, proton, neutrons. Like that are that structure. So.
Mm.
So we can understand there like a if we take okay these 120 basic elements in place of like we are telling five, so we can understand by that like by this 120 element the every other compound like a creatine. Yeah? if if we any other compound we break to that, so we will get these 120 elements, you know So, like this structure from one to many, it's going on like this way. Like some elements together and
Mm-hmm.
make another compound, and next
Mm-hmm.
some compound also coming together and making a big, more complicated compound. Like this way, it's going on. So same way we explaining this, like the five aspect of that element, like Akash,
What about
Jal, Agni,
neutrality? That
etc.
there is nor physic nor like conscious, like this.
Yeah, because it is
Can you
not
little more simply explain? Mm-hmm.
me.
Yes, yes. There is one confusion also. Generally, people say what they looking this. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
it's like a material type. They're saying this is material. Okay, like
This
what
is
we
yeah, like this
experiencing.
material. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but people thinking this material itself it is a unconscious. They taking for granted this like a no,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
but it is not necessary. Na? Like a, what we are looking, it is a conscious or unconscious. Like if we
Mm-hmm.
look a cat, if we experience a cat, so we experience that okay, cat is conscious thing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
something
Mm-hmm.
is conscious in a cat
Mm-hmm.
form.
Okay.
Something is conscious in a human form, and something is unconscious in a like a we're telling like a stone or this wood,
Mm-hmm.
dry wood or this
Yeah.
iron. So so people thinking this wooden or this iron is like a it's a basic means in the root this property is there.
Mm.
And this they thinking like matter means unconscious,
Mm-hmm.
no? In the language like matter means
Means
unconscious, but it's not.
unconscious.
Yeah,
Mm.
which the people saying matter, that is something which okay we can say in language matter, but that matter can have two aspects: conscious or without conscious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like two type of products we are looking all around. One those which looking like conscious and which looking like a without conscious or unconscious.
Okay.
Huh. So what which word we should use for that thing which is conscious or unconscious? Because now people thinking unconscious means matter. They're saying matter means unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
So in Hindi we calling that tatwa. That is the tattva, root element. Tattva. We're not saying that jar or chetan, like a conscious or unconscious. We're saying that is the tattva. That is something. Okay? At what we experiencing only conscious or unconscious way. Means like okay, something is looking conscious, something is looking unconscious. But what we are looking that something, what is that reality? So in Hindi we use tattva, and in English I don't know what they use. They use matter for tattva or they use matter for unconscious. I don't know.
In Western philosophy, so tattva.
Yeah, they don't say tattva because it's a Hindi or
Minimum,
Sanskrit word. What
So they
Ambrish,
are
what
saying
they
mind
say?
substance or material substance. That is the whole discussion happening. Mind or matter? Mind, matter,
yeah,
substance.
only this mind
Okay.
matter.
Ye-
Hmm.
yes, yes. So mind they calling for conscious and matter they calling for unconscious, like
That
this
is
way.
why in dual aspect we introduced this third domain called psychophysically neutral.
But it
Yeah,
means
yeah.
there are three:
Not
matter,
three.
conscious, and something
One
neutral. Or
one that one substance that is from the point
Yes.
of observation and empirical access, is becoming two, matter and mind.
two.
But the
But
substance,
this is like a tattva, but substance is one
tattva is one.
in one. Matter tattva is one, in
Yes.
which
Mind
matter
and matter
and
are its properties,
mind together.
aspects. Mind and matter are its aspects or properties. They are not calling that as the tattva.
Yeah.
Means they are, because when you experience like some psychological uh, uh, like stress, then it is not like that the psychological stress will do some process and then it will affect body. It is happening simultaneously. If something is happening to body, then it is the inside you are feeling something, and physically some explanation, but it is the same
Yeah.
thing happening to that tattva.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like a
Means it's one tattva with two, yes, mind and body. Let's
yeah,
say.
yeah.
But this
Like
one
this is our
tattva.
body. This is one body, no? This is our body, and this is one. Okay. If we consider this is one. So this body has two aspects. One is like alive, and one is when we die, like non-alive. Body is there. Body is there in life form also, in in dead form also, or in functioning form also, and non-functioning form also. Both places are body. So body has two aspects. One aspect is functioning or non-functioning, or live or dead, live or without life, like unlive, live or unlive. So like that. Substance is one, but has these two aspects.
And these
Yeah.
aspects also merge in some particular step.
Yes.
Means they are aspects in Brahma or Brahmand state, but in the Bindu state, in the dot state, point cosmic dot state, they are not active. Mind matter are not active.
Not active.
Hmm. They are sleepy. And so, like, these are the things according to the detail of the.
And yes, and we look in, in when they working in like our DNA basis, genetic basis. So there we look, like there are many type of genes, but every genes here not display, like we not
Yeah.
experience. That is there, but in some that can here also display, or here also
Display.
can be like in the this physical existence reality.
Yeah.
If
Mhm.
that is some procedure, if that procedure also happened, then those things come in here in the reality. But those are there. It not mean this not there.
Yeah, so
Understanding
the
some.
one interesting concept here in this thing is potential and manifest.
Yes, potential and manifest.
So
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
so many things we have in our DNA as a potentially. Still, they not manifested yet. Maybe in
As
future,
a potential,
sometime,
not manifest, maybe not manifest
yeah,
never,
maybe never,
hmm
or
or
maybe
sometime
sometime.
never.
So,
Mm.
yeah, like this way we can understand. Manifest, non-manifest, yes, but
And then
still
what?
they are there in the
Your
scene.
mean, Ambarish
your
ji?
audio is
I'm sorry,
breaking.
just maybe was,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm not
sometime
able to
here
hear.
Listen me.
internet is very poor.
Yeah, so I will, in the meantime, answer some of the questions that are appearing. So Preeti ji has
Okay.
asked, so
Uh-huh.
concluding,
Okay.
one cannot experience pure consciousness. I think we can experience pure consciousness. We cannot experience pure Akash because pure Akash is now not existing because all the five elements are now existing. But we can experience pure consciousness in the sense if we deactivate our memory, then we will experience pure consciousness.
Yes.
So she's saying this is so this has never been discussed as in what consciousness comprises of. Ethereal part, psychophysically neutral is a new one. The PPT enlightens about relationship of mind and matter as two sides of the same coin. Yes, there are two sides of the same coin that emerge after the symmetry breaking of the whole, not before. So here I am using a concept which is decomposition of the whole. So when that decomposition happens, then only mind matter emerge. Yes. Deepu ji is asking, is everything in the universe expressed by these five elements? Yes.
Not like
The
You
five
know,
we
elements,
have
works
internet.
or not?
Not now working, but we are working. You are here, but audio is
Because
coming still.
your work
It looks sometime internet goes very slow.
yeah. So everything
Okay,
that
you
we experience,
not really
we are actually seeing the manifestation of these five elements.
can't
Yeah,
because
everything is
it's
made
not
up of five elements
program.
in this
It
particular model.
needs some installation. I could not.
And
I
Preeti ji is asking, so when the creator is asleep, the potency is there, however, deactivated. Yes, the potency is there, but it's deactivated. How about the wish to awake? So the wish to awake, it is happening organically, just like how we awake in the morning. It happens organically. We are not awake to make that wish. So our waking up is an organic process. It is the nature of the substance. It's that nature of the tattva to wake up. So similarly, from the Akash unfolding to Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, this process is the ultimate truth. That is why it is organic. It's the fundamental principle. And in terms of physics, we can say that from Akash is a very organized state to a state of disorganization, like entropy increase. So there is entropy increase as Akash becomes Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, and then again it goes towards organization. So this is the ultimate truth. This is the ultimate pulsation of life. It is continuously happening even now. Organization to disorganization, again to disorganization to organization. This is the cyclic existence. In this universe we will only see disorganization if we, that's the entropy principle, because now that ultimate cycle is yet to take place, so we cannot see that because we will be dead by that time. So we will only see the unfolding of the universe and its dissolution. We will not see it again becoming compact.
Yeah, means
Hmm.
that we can experience in another cycles, yeah, another small
Yeah.
cycles like a composition, decomposition. Here we
Yes.
can look.
Here we
So
can look locally.
on this basis, we can understand that phenomena also. You know, like so because this cycle also running within that cycle. So this cycle also have that like a we can look small cycle. We cannot look like a big cycle. You know, like a 1,000 year cycle or like a 1 lakh year cycle. That we cannot experience because our life is not that long time. But we have short cycles also, no, around us. There we can
Yeah.
understand because they are also happening composition, happening decomposition. Even our body also after 40, 50, or whole whole thing also, something composition also happening, some decomposition also happening together. You know this, like this way.
Yes, so if anybody else wishes to join or has any other questions. So I've put the link. If anybody wishes to join, they can join. Like a grand universe, unified theory. That is what the attempt is, to make a grand unified theory of which at which we can use to uh, create a model for explaining all the psychological phenomena, because the Panchatattvas we have created an architecture of the states of consciousness and that of Antakaran and its correlation with the Panchatattvas. So, whatever psychological phenomena is happening inside of us, whatever pleasures that we feel, whatever traumas that we experience, all of that can be explained using the Panchatattvic model, and how this model is correlated with the outer world. That, because that was the initial problem with which we started. What is the mind matter correlation? Is mind independent of matter, or how is it correlated, how they both affect each other, who came first? So all of this is now explained using this model, in which we are saying that actually in the background it's the panchtattvic pulsation continuously taking place, which locally we experience as subject object, because we are part of the whole. And as this whole decomposes by symmetry breaking, different entities are created with different panchatattvic form configurations. So uh, now all of the theories regarding physics, regarding psychology, and regarding the theory of human nature, and theory of happiness, and theory of social movements, all of this I want to create using this model. So dual aspect monism opens many doors for our future work regarding theory of happiness and theory of human person, philosophy of human person. Yes, your mic is off.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
So you want to speak something?
Maybe he already answered. Ambarish, so in what means, like you told that if we understand this theory, this including 5 elements, we understand all about physical and psychological, like psyche, everything about physics and psyche. In which sense you are meaning? If we understand this, we understand all of this. In which sense?
See, so we have concluded that everything in this world, this universe, is made up of 5 elements. That is the that we have concluded. So the subjective aspect and the objective aspect, all the phenomena that is happening there, they must also be explainable using the 5 element. So in Ayurveda, we have some theory by which we use to describe this condition of our personality, our body, our health, our illnesses. Now with this state's new modified chatushpad doctrine, this modified turiya, shushupti, swapna and jagrit, which is there in Premjeet ji's book, because that is a modified theory, that is not original chatushpad doctrine. And this antakaran that we are saying, this modified antakaran theory, with that we have a complete model which by which we can correlate 5 elements and the inner psyche. And we can also explain the physical world using, perhaps we can make a theory by which we can explain the physical world also, objective world also using 5 elements, and psychological world also using 5 elements, and that which we cannot experience also using the 5 elements, which is the background. So we have one unified theory, na? That is what I am speaking. We have a grand unified theory of reality
But,
using this.
for example, for me as a Western person, yeah, it's little like kind of abstract sounds.
So
in which how that is why I'm asking how you like in future want to proceed the discussion about such topic with
So
maybe
so now
working
this
like
is just like an
psychology.
idea.
Mhm.
So this is like
Mhm.
I put together some ideas, but now I have
Mhm.
to explain what these five elements mean actually. So
Mhm.
that is the ontology.
Yeah,
Okay, so that is the
ontology.
challenge.
Mhm.
That five
This is
element,
a challenge.
that is the
Enough.
challenge. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
other philosophers also, like Spinoza, also has very elaborate mathematics to explain this topic, to explain reality. So okay, so what Advait Vedanta people did, they said that we cannot talk about Brahman, but
Mhm.
everything after that we will speak. Okay, so they
Mhm.
created a model
Mhm.
to explain reality. Okay, similarly, the materialists, they created a model to explain reality. Similarly, the dual aspect monists, these quantum physicists, they created a model to explain reality. Now, what I want to do is I see this hope that using this five element, I can describe
Mhm.
an antakaran, I can describe a state of consciousness model, and using this five element, if I can explain what this five element means and what is the architecture of antakaran and the state of consciousness, how it is correlated with this five element and why it behaves like this. A grammar to understand the phenomena of the psychological world, like how Freud or Jung, they try to create one architect a model. uh, in depth psychology, they try to create a model of how the psychological states exist. Okay, so after some time, the psychological field stopped doing this. They gave up this problem
They
after.
stopped, and about Freud and Jung, now in
Both they
modern
stopped. The
psychological
depth
world, they
psychology
have
is like uh, depth psychology
some
is
little,
ignored field. Okay,
because,
so they,
Jung, like talking with some spirits, by which way he, like, did
no
his researching, it's very
yeah, but
questionable.
Y- y- yeah, so many people, like this person who is the author of this book, dual
Mhm.
aspect monism and deep structure of meaning, this book, he's a physicist, hardcore physicist, and his
Mhm.
co-author is a philosopher of science, and he also thought Young is like should it's like not useful and
Mhm.
not scientific. But later on, when they studied Young, they found many useful things in his work. And Young himself worked with Wolfgang Pauli. He's
Mhm.
like physicist of the top order. And so
Maybe, maybe.
yeah, so things are
Yeah,
very
maybe.
unclear at
By
the
this
moment.
way,
Uh,
like
No,
open
so
some really
you cannot
meaningful.
discard
Mhm.
somebody just
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
somebody is popular or unpopular. But I'm not
Mhm.
supporting Young because I'm introducing Premjeet Ji's model here. I'm not
Mhm.
supporting his collective unconsciousness model. Uh, but it's a theory. We have to argue like what why I am supporting or not supporting rather than his popularity. So some things are useful, like how he said that there is this whole reality,
Mhm. Yeah.
whole.
Mhm.
So this is a very useful concept for me also, because uh,
Mhm.
before I was taking these five elements and combining them to make some composition. But
Mhm.
now with this theory of quantum holism, they are saying five elements are one whole. You have to decompose it. Like river water swirl. It's decomposed. Some symmetry breaking happen. You are not taking two things and making them into a new thing. You are taking one thing, this one unified whole, and because of symmetry breaking, new expressions are coming. Akash is becoming Vayu because of symmetry breaking. Akash Vayu, again they are combining. So I think there is symmetry breaking and then again composition. So it's decomposition, composition approach. So
And tell me, please, just by this, you told that one of them now alive. Do you want
yeah,
to
Basil
contact
Hailey.
with him? Because if he really also doing some researching in this
Yeah,
area.
yeah. Basically, he developed David Bohm's model very much.
Mhm.
Like he took David Bohm's implicate order, explicate order model. So, but for contacting him and communicating with him, I need to be very familiar the with dual aspect monism philosophy very deeply, and also what is my idea there, because there we have to talk in technical terms, right?
Yeah,
So
just
so
like, please be my like scientific director.
so
Ask him
they,
to work together.
he is very old also
Just
now,
an
and
idea.
yeah,
Mm.
I think approaching them will be worthwhile only when I'm in a position to write a paper and I have written something about what I am thinking and I am familiar with their work. Otherwise, it will be too basic for them to talk about.
Okay, for
If
him
I'm
to basic, but it's for your
that
like
communication,
LCD.
y-
Uh,
that
okay.
communication, so it's a like because
Especially he is old, need more quickly.
I tried to
Try.
contact the co-author of this book, um, the Australian philosopher of science, but he also
Mhm.
doesn't have time now. This
Yeah.
person, what is his name? Um, um, this author which I mentioned. Just one second. Dean Rickles. Dean Rickles, I contacted him through LinkedIn. He said currently he's busy with another book, so he will later maybe message.
Mhm.
But he's busy. Most of these people are very busy with their developing their theoretical framework, right? So they are already in the technical domain. So that is why unless I become very well versed in the contemporary literature, contemporary dialogue, then I will not be able to have a fruitful conversation. They cannot educate me about many things.
So another question you already answered. Whatever.
Is
Yeah,
Deep Vairvarji asking, is everything in the universe expressed by these five elements?
yeah,
Yes.
this I answered.
And
Uh,
This answer.
he is
Yeah.
asking one more question. Can the five elements exist in their original form in the present time? They are
good
in their
question.
original form. How?
Actually, these are the properties.
Yeah,
Yeah, Akash is like a potential type. Vayu is like a when those potential have movement. Right? So movement means like a Vayu. So we're looking many movements, and we also do many time of now I am movement. My hands are in movement. So now this is Vayu. Without movement, what we can express. Expression means some movement happening. Some movement happening in my cell. Some movement happening in my body. Various movements. So movements means Vayu. Fluid type, like liquid type, you know, some
yeah. I have
properties. That is
I have
like
mentioned these
example.
properties in the slide.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
have
And
mentioned it as
yes.
uh, universal properties, like Akash is giving platform, ground, speciality, non
Yeah.
resistance. Vayu is giving locomotion, movement, momentum, dryness.
Yeah.
Agni is giving expansion, heat, radiation, transformation.
Yes.
Jal is giving
Yes.
cohesion, fluidity, smoothness. Prithvi is giving
Yeah.
coherence, solidity, stability, steadiness.
Yeah.
So,
Steadiness,
yeah,
hardness.
so these are outward manifestations.
Yeah, and we can feel all around us, all these things, all these activities, all these properties.
So all that we need to do is make a like a theory, a complete theory, and explain how we are justifying what is our argument. Like how are we stating that this creates this Akash is responsible for all of these, and what is our argument basically. Once that theory is complete, then we can put it across as the new ontological substance of reality, like explanation of reality.
We are so much appreciate your efforts towards this your aim so much,
Yeah.
and very hopefully
Yeah,
see on
yes.
future when really you can entering to this like between them people and like make some dialogue in their languages, and it's very nice.
Yeah, and
Especially about Western, whatever I am worried always for they how it will work such theory
If
in Western.
anywhere in academic field, and anywhere if it once enters in the academic arena, academic
Hmm?
arena
You
means
mean?
I become like I give a technical explanation to this. That's all.
Yeah, some really proper and what do you think yourself? It's like ultimate reality or possible some more open. Like how you? Of course, I think every researcher thinking it's like it's last truth. But what do you think?
No, it all depends upon how many questions I answer, philosophical problems I answer using this
Mm-hmm.
model. So that is the main thing. So right now I am becoming aware of all the philosophical problems that are in the area of philosophy of mind and the topic of consciousness. And once I am aware properly, then what kind of argument I develop using historical references and my own
Mm-hmm.
any position, uh, what methodology I will use, that is again one more topic. What philosophical methodology, uh, am I developing a new methodology because of this paradigm, or what is my methodology?
Mm-hmm.
That is also a very big question. So right now I'm
yeah,
learning the technicalities of philosophy.
yes, yes. And you collect these all questions which generally they ask in philosophy, and translate it in Hindi and send me also. I will also, you know,
Mm,
like want to
no,
check this
it is
theory
big.
on the basis
It
of
is
those
a matter
questions.
of big study. Right now, I cannot do it like
No, no, few main questions when they're
Okay.
facing in philosophy of mind.
maybe
So
you
you
can.
collect those
On
questions
this,
Maybe if I
whenever
find any
you
book that in Hindi is talking about
I will find
philosophical
those
problems, then that
because
will be helpful.
in Moscow also there
Oh,
is
oh, yeah.
philosophical faculty
Yes, yes,
consciousness like
yes,
they
yes.
also try, but they
Yeah,
most
you also can.
they more connected with Chalmers. You know Chalmers, like
Yeah,
whatever in
panpsychism.
Moscow they doing researching this faculty philosophical
So
faculty.
yeah, yeah, I am
They I
aware.
don't know they more with him connected.
No, he is one of the thinkers who is also like contemporary of all these dual aspect monists, and
Mm-hmm.
he's saying that the reality he has, like I think, an atomist view of reality, that everything is made up of physical and mental. Like he's not
Mm-hmm.
using whole quantum holism. He's saying he has a reductive approach. He's saying everything can be reduced to some basic entities that are both physical and mental. So every panpsychism, everything has some degree of consciousness, and they combine to create more complex consciousness. So then he faces combination problem, means which means he has to explain how some simpler consciousness combine to form complex consciousness. That he has to explain, which is called the combination problem.
It looks like they're stuck in.
So that is why five element approach to me is the best approach. You cannot explain more beautifully antakaran and state of consciousness
Mm.
and the physical world in one unified theory other than five element. But this five element has to be put in a proper manner, not like how older
Mhm.
traditions are putting by five element.
It means you have some potential. It's appeared or not appeared properly. This is
Yeah,
still question mark. But potential you
Ah,
have.
yes.
we have
Mhm.
potential. Yeah. Only
Mhm.
thing we
Yeah.
need
So your
technical people, technical writers, and that is why I think we should create a website in which each one of us takes up a specific domain. Like, for example, psychology. In that psychology, also trauma, and we relate it with this theory and try to develop like so we need people who take up one topic and they become expert and write about it in that website.
mm,
Suppose somebody work on non-monetary economics, so he researches lot of economic models, alternative economic models. He knows whatever alternate to capitalist theories are out there in the market. He knows about alternate political theories. So everybody cannot do everything, so we need to create an
Oh,
institute or
okay.
a group of people who are doing collectively this research under this framework, and they are posting their articles onto that website, and slowly we move towards creation of a institute or center, because we are producing so much literature for public to understand all these things clearly, from psychological domain, from economics domain, from political, so organization of society, how to create social movement for various kinds of all of these things, theory of happiness, theory of value. Everybody, we start working on like one topic under this big umbrella.
yeah. Yes. Slowly,
Yeah, it
people
looks
will come
like
and then they expand
it's
this
future.
And
It's
in every
yeah,
dimension.
I
and we
think it
create
will
workshops accordingly like for example, now we can create some workshop about some consciousness, models of consciousness. So slowly we start launching workshops, and maybe we have to design workshops and then invite other academicians and experts. We don't need the degree, what we need is expertise, like interest in that subject. So we invite them to look at our course material, or they participate, join us. Give them invitation to help create course material. We create a platform where academic and experts people will join to create course material. Together we will create a hope for a new world, a new vision. This is my plan, and on that website we offer that content, and it is very hopeful content for humanity. Like, they are getting sense, because now there is so much information. Every man is very confused what to look, what not to look, and which thing he can adopt in his life. We will create something very hopeful and very like, so that is the direction we can bring social participation and social change, by creating a hopeful vision and technical workshops to establish common sense, and then working further to develop that approach. Yeah, so okay, so if we have concluded.
no more questions.
More question.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you also collect such questions which generally people ask
No,
to
I
understand any
collect about
philosophy
consciousness. Yes,
concept.
philosophy of consciousness. They like only few actually. They have whatever they
Yes. Yes. So
find.
if we will have like a very accurate answers for those questions, so it will be help for who will come to check our theory.
Yeah, for that only we need some education about these topics, not this to understand the question. We need the grammar, the
Mm.
vocabulary, the concepts.
Yes, yes.
So need to read philosophy for basics of philosophy to understand, and then philosophy of mind.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Thank you so much. Or
okay,
thank you so
yeah,
much to people
thank you
who
for
was with
joining.
us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
all right, everybody. I will end the stream now. Bye
Yeah.
bye. Take care.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah.
Bye.
Like I invited few, but I think that they were busy. So because it is
Uh,
in daytime, so
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
next time if we put
Yeah,
sometime
sometimes you
English
do.
in Sunday,
Ambarish
it will
ji,
be.
when you like, maybe not so much big, you sometimes can sharing with us whatever you
Yeah, yeah,
open,
yes. And
like by
you,
simple way, we
yes,
can
I
little discuss.
and you can take like a one question of this theory, like a one question and explain that in half hour, 1 hour, and then people come for some another
So, okay,
question
I will.
regarding.
One thing you can do, I'm suggesting to anyone who's interested in understanding what are the problems that philosophers are struggling to understand. There are two YouTube channels. One is
Mm,
called Closer to Truth. So in Closer to
mm,
Truth, all the leading thinkers of the world, they are asked some very fundamental questions about the means problems concerning philosophy and society, like regarding
mm,
consciousness, regarding physics, regarding some theory of space, theory of time, all major. So when if somebody listens to those dialogues, they can understand what is the leading thinker, what are they thinking, like where have they reached, and what are they stuck, where are they stuck. So Closer to Truth and Institute of Art and Ideas, we need to consume these two channels to understand the top level thinking in the world going on these topics, to become part of the conversation. If we understand
mm,
what they are speaking, then we can give answers and responses to that, then we can participate in such dialogue.
mm.
Yeah, it's
So
professional society or like just philosophy lovers or it's some professionals are using
it's a
some
no
special
it's a
languages because
some
it's not
profession.
everyone ready to
Yeah, but it has like
know.
big following. The Western society and educated audience also has now, like, it's increased the population who are interested in such topics regarding space, time,
Mm, mm,
theories regarding probabilistic nature of quantum physics and all of this. So people are interested and they have a huge following. And Institute of Art and Ideas and Closer to Truth, these two channels are being massively followed. And
mm,
so uh, people are trying to educate themselves about uh, the the modern findings, because businesses are also getting affected because of this, and future is very uncertain where it will go. So even all educated people and businessmen also are interested in AI and where is this world going towards, so they are listening to all these topics.
So you can put link of these to in our
Yeah,
description,
yeah.
so
in
people can
description.
go from there.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
So thank you very much.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.